This is Department of English, Government Postgraduate College, Attack for online classes, and I am Muhammad Ali, lecturer in English. This online class is for second year. Chapter number 1. We will study from page number 2. Perhaps it was, he remembered that first tremendous ordeal of taking prep, a September sunset more than half a century ago. The words perhaps it was. Actually, these words remind us that Mr. Chips had the advice in his mind of the headmaster Weatherby. Mr. Weatherby advised him that he should take a strict and hard attitude in the very beginning. When Mr. Chips came to take his first class in Brookfield, after 50 years, he could remember that event in a better way, and he remembered that first tremendous ordeal. He used the words tremendous ordeal. That was a remarkable, a great test and trial for Mr. Chips, because that was the first class, and he knew that students would create trouble for Mr. Chips in the first class. It was September and the sun was setting, and this event took place 50 years back. Big all full of lusty barbarians ready to pounce on him as their legitimate prey. Mr. Chips says that there was a big hall where he took his first class, and that big hall was full of students, and Mr. Chips used the words lusty barbarians for those students. Lusty means filled with passion, and barbarians means brutal or warlike. To pounce means to attack, and legitimate means rightful, lawful. Pre means victim. It means Mr. Chips was saying that in the big hall was full of students, and those students were actually filled with passions, and they had warlike nature, and they were ready to attack on Mr. Chips, considering him their rightful victim. They wanted to make trouble for Mr. Chips. Barbarian is brutal, cruel, warlike, and insensitive person, uncivilized, uncultured. The Greeks used the term toward those who did not speak Greek and who did not follow classical Greek customs and traditions. Similarly, in ancient Rome, the Romans used the term towards tribal non-Romans. Next, his youth, fresh complexioned, high-collared, and side-whiskered. Odd fashions people followed in those days at the mercy of 500 unprincipled ruffians. So, in these words, the explanation about the personality of Mr. Chips has been given, that he was a young person. Fresh complexion meant he was very healthy and clean, and he wore the clothes having high collar, and he had side whiskers on his face, and that was a strange fashion at that time, and it was in the power of 500 students, and those students were considered unprincipled, that they did not follow principles or rules, and they were considered ruffians, mean hooligans or gangsters, whom the baiting of new masters, that they had temptation, they wanted to make trouble for new teachers, and it was a fine art for them, and it was an exciting sport, means a very interesting sport for students, that they actually disturbed new teacher, and something of a tradition, and that became a custom or tradition in the school, that students actually disturb the new teacher in the very first class. Revision of words and vocabulary. Fresh complexion means healthy and clean. Side whiskered, having side whiskers or sideburns or sideboards. The term sideburns is the 19th century corruption of the original Burnsides, named after American Civil War General Ambrose Burnside from 1824 to 1881. Odd means strange, followed means go after, at the mercy of means in the power of, unprincipled mean dishonest, unethical, having no rules. Ruffians means gangsters, baiting mean temptation, exciting mean moving or stimulating, tradition mean custom or convention. Let us study next sentences. Decent little beggars individually, but as mob, just pitiless and implacable. So there is a difference. When students they are separated from their groups, when they are alone, they are weak, they are submissive, they look like beggars, very polite. But when they come in the form of crowd, they become merciless, they become hard-hearted, and they are unable to be stopped. And this is the observation of Mr. Chips regarding those students. Decent means polite and civilized, beggar means vagabond or homeless person, individual mean alone, mob, crowd just mean now or presently, pitiless, merciless, implacable, merciless. Let us discuss further sentences. The sudden hush as he took his place at the desk on the dais. When Mr. Chips came in the big hall and he took a seat on the platform, there was complete silence for the time being. The scowl he assumed, and Mr. Chips outwardly actually he showed an angry mood or bad tempered expression, so that students might come to know that the new teacher was very serious. But inwardly, to cover his inwardly because he was uneasy, he had anxiety, so he wanted to cover that problem, inward problem, internal problem, and outwardly he showed anger and bad temper. The tall clock ticking behind him and the smells of ink and varnish. So the clock was ticking, that was a tall clock, and there was a scent or smell of ink and varnish or polish, and the last red rays slanting in slabs through the stained glass windows. And because the sun was setting, and its rays that were coming into the big hall through windows. So the rays they were coming obliquely in an angled, and they were coming on the slabs and the blocks of the big hall. Explanation of the word stained glass. It means colored glass. The term stained glass refers to colored glass as a material and to works created from it. And it was for the windows of the churches. As the material stained glass is glass that has been colored by adding metallic salts. Stained glass windows in which small pieces of glass are arranged to form patterns of pictures. Let us discuss further sentences. Someone dropped a desk lid. So there was a mischief, and a student dropped a desk lid. Quickly he must take everyone by surprise. So Mr. Chips had the advice of Weatherby in his mind, so he decided to actually take everyone by surprise, that he should show surprise. Everyone should be shocked from unexpected behavior of Mr. Chips. So he must show that there was no nonsense about him. So he decided that he should tell his students through his action that he would not accept any foolish or unacceptable behavior on the part of students. He would not spare students. You there in the fifth row. After that, he called a student who was sitting in the fifth row, you with the red hair, and that student had red hair. What is your name? And Mr. Chips asked him about his name. Coley, sir. And that student replied that his name was Coley. Very well, Coley, you have 100 lines. Mr. Chips asked him that he should write 100 lines. he gave him punishment. After that, no trouble at all. After that, so then there was no trouble in the big hall. All students came under control, and Mr. Chapes succeeded to maintain discipline. He had won his first round. In this way, the first stage of his competition in first class, he won that one. Thank you very much for watching.